Welcome, everybody, for those of us who are joining us for the recording version. And thank you, everybody, for being here for our Howard Elementary School fifth grade outdoor school information session this evening that will be taking place day trips April 9th through the 11th. All the three classes will go for 3 different days to Camp Fire Wilani at the Camp Lutherwood area. And we've got a great agenda for this evening. We are going through some introductions first, just going to see who's presenting. We'll talk about the curriculum and student experience, logistics, and questions. So with that, feel free to pop any questions in to the chat. If we need an interpreter, if we need that, please sign in. But right now, I don't see if we have any response for anyone needing interpretation. Do we? Do you want to ask the question again, Bernice?
¿Alguien ocupa un intérprete?
Okay, we'll wait for just a moment, but I'm getting the sense that we will not need that at this time. But if we can just monitor, maybe put in the chat and ask in Spanish as well if anybody needs us to come on in. But otherwise, let's do some introductions. I am Charlie Jett. I'm the principal here at Howard. It's great to see everybody. Thank you. And I would like to introduce our fifth grade teachers who are present: Lupe Callahan and Susie Rock.
Hey, everyone.
And also from our district, Sarah Ruggiero, who's in charge of outdoor school for our district. Thank you for being here, Sarah. And Alyssa. Alyssa, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for being here to
Hi.
present about Camp Wilani and that experience.
Yeah, of course. My name's Alyssa. I use she, her pronouns. I am the executive director at Camp Fire Wilani. I'm very, very sorry that you had to wait today. Marco usually does not miss something like a parent meeting, so we will get him all dialed. But I apologize that you had to wait. I just want to get dialed into, it looks like you have our slides, but you've adjusted them or changed them some way?
We've made a few adjustments, but I'm happy to click through and just tell me when to press. I'm in control of it. If that
Okay.
works.
I had a cool video to show you too. But we'll do this first. So yeah, okay. Let's
And I want to
get
thank, and I do want to thank Bernice for being here for interpretation purposes, and thank you for being available. Thank you. So great. All right. So yeah, with that, we can get into what the curriculum is, and if we need to unshare, and I can share with you to show the video, we can do that as well.
great. So outdoor school, we're super excited to welcome your students to our new location, which will be Camp Lutherwood. We loved our old site. I went there from the time I was 7 years old, but it's just not very conducive to our needs in our expanding program. So we're now at beautiful Camp Lutherwood, which is out Highway 36. It's absolutely gorgeous. We led a tour for all of Bethel School District yesterday. And even though we got snowed on, everyone was really excited about being out there because it's a beautiful space. So we teach the Beatles curriculum, which is out of UC Berkeley's Lawrence Hall of Science. And this is a really student-focused program. And what it does is it draws on the students' prior knowledge to help them make new neural connections in their brain with the new knowledge they're learning about the environment, about hydrology and about lichen and fungus and decomposition and all the wonderful things that make up our natural world. But it's not just a talking head, right? We don't just have our instructors up there just like, and this is how you do this. It's very interactive. It's very much valuing the input from the students, and it's really awesome. It's the best program I've ever participated in. So that's that. If you want to move the slide forward for me. Very weird not to do it. And this is more about the curriculum, which is that it's nature-centered, student-centered and nature-focused. And I just said it, I must have it memorized. I just said all of that without the slide. So I'm impressed with myself. Everything that I just said is right here on the slide. So excellent. Okay, let's see what the next one is. All right. We really do believe that this experience can be transformative for our students. We teach kids that every single student can be a scientist. And I think that if we, especially we Gen Xers, can think back to when we were kids, a lot of times we may have been put in boxes that made us believe that we couldn't do certain things, whether it was based on our gender or background or whatever it was. Here, we really believe that every single child can be a scientist, and we give kids simple tools to understand how they can do that in life. And we foster and build that curiosity in kids so that they can be curious about the natural world and learn tools about how to unpack it and how to understand it. So yeah, it's really cool. We can go on to the next one. All right. So we want to create an incredibly inclusive space for every single student that wants to come to our program. We have several staff who are Spanish speakers. We actually are just interviewing someone who's fluent in ASL, which is awesome. And then you can see here in the photos that we have the Adventure, which is a rad all-terrain wheelchair so that we can help kids with mobility issues come out and be able to fully and completely enjoy the program. Now, Howard did have a student with us last year in the Adventure de Vida, and it was the greatest week of my life. And I see people nodding their heads, yes. And that was really special that we could have her and other students participate in every single part of our program. And that adventure was $11,000 in grant funds, but we just felt like that was money well spent to have something that helps kids be a part of every part of our program. And her being there was so special. I cried a lot in joy, and it was awesome. So that too, we reach out wanting to get all of your inclusion needs about your students. We want to try and create a really wonderful a really wonderful place that every single student can feel like they belong, and that and we depend on you as parents and administrators and faculty to help us to make that best possible experience. I did see a question come in the chat. That's why I paused. I wanted to make sure. Oh, it's in Spanish, so I can't read Spanish myself.
She's just asking anybody who needs interpretation. You're good, Alyssa. You're good. Yeah, and I can say I just want to add in too, Alyssa, with that adventure with my student last year. The parents of that child were just ecstatic, to say the least. Like you said, tears in their eyes that they were able to participate. My kids who were in her group with her and able to help her get up the hills and push and pull. It was just a wonderful experience for them all together with that chair. So it was an awesome money well spent for sure.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we had a blast with your kids. We love Howard. So yeah, there's a little bit about that. A place for every kid. So we can move on to the next slide. All right. So just so you know, for your kids and for any teachers who haven't participated in our program before, we as the provider provide the curriculum, instruction, and all of the learning materials. And then the students are split into their trail groups. And then they have the same trail instructor team for their entire time in our program. So we have an AM and PM instructor, and sometimes that'll be the same person for the whole experience, but more often than not, you'll have your AM and your PM so that your AM at the very least sees the evolution of your child through the program. So it's not a different person all the time. Each instructor has everything that they need for the program on their back in a backpack. And that means that there's a lot of flexibility around the program, which means if students are super, super into Case of the Disappearing Log and are just super pumped on all the decomposers and all the other things, we can spend more time doing that because we're not going from station to station and have to rush through it. We can spend a lot more time exploring that. And contrarily, if kids are getting restless, if they're cold, they need a break, we can go get warmed up, have some hot chocolate, or play a game, or run around, or whatever it is, play a learning game. All of it is educational. And we have that flexibility, which is really, really lovely. So the students will unload from the buses with their belongings, and we'll take everything and put it into the, I'm used to my own slides, so I'm just getting caught up here for a second. And they're split into their trail groups, so they'll have one of our instructors, our paid staff, and then a chaperone from your school. So there'll be 2 adults with every group of 11, which is, we have a 1-to-8 minimum ratio, and that's a 1-to-5 or 6 ratio, which is excellent. And the chaperone's purpose really is just to be, is wrangling, and it's kiddo wrangling. You know what I'm talking about, kids. It's kiddo wrangling, and then it's also it's just being excited about the material and keeping us focused on the learning part of it, because it is outdoor school. It's not camp. You know, we're still learning. We're just learning outside and with our hands and getting a little muddy, a little dirty. It's going to be super fun. And so we create group agreements. We get in a big circle and we talk about what the experience is going to be like with the students. And then we do a lot of team building and socio-emotional learning in the beginning. And then off we go. And it is learning, learning, learning. It looks like there's a note here that permission slips will go home on March 1st and are due back March 8th, which is great. Yeah, okay, we can go on to the next one. All right, so our staff are awesome. So we have staff who are all young adults. They have at least 1 year of college under their belt. They've all had an FBI enhanced nationwide criminal background check, fingerprinted, and they are just awesome people. They get loads of training. So they start with some online trainings ahead of time before they even join us, and then they get a significant amount of training on the ground. So it's looking here like someone is saying that lunch is provided.
Yes, the school is going to be providing lunches. But
there.
So that is true. We'll be bringing lunches.
Provided by the school, not by Camp Fire Wilani. Okay. All right. Good clarification. Yeah, so we will have a lot of really awesome people, and that is that slide. So let us move to the next one. All right, this is the most important part. My parents, please hear my voice right now. As we saw yesterday with my other group, Oregon is unpredictable weather-wise. You know, we had this beautiful weekend where all of us are busting out our capri pants and working in the yard. And then I got snowed on yesterday. So please know that Oregon weather is unpredictable and that you must prepare your little person, okay? I know that the young people like to walk out just in a hoodie and basketball shorts and canvas shoes, and you will have a real bad day if that is what you wear to outdoor school, okay? These kids are outfitted appropriately, having some kind of base layer. I'm wearing a base layer right now. If you can see me on your feed, they're having a nice warm, like underneath layer that's wicking and not cotton, some kind of synthetic material, having an insulating layer on top of that. And then having a waterproof layer on top. I'm talking about a real raincoat, my friends, a knit hat, gloves, and shoes that if they need to be canvas, you should spray them with some waterproofer or something like that, because once your feet get wet, your feet get cold. It soaks right through your socks. Your feet are freezing. Kids can't learn when they're cold, okay? They can't learn when they're cold and wet. They're just worried about being cold and wet. So it's really, really important that these kiddos have a raincoat or a poncho, a knit hat, like I just said. Hot hands are great, a nice fleece layer. Your school can help you if your family is struggling to acquire these things. If you're sitting here looking at this list and are getting anxiety about how you're going to afford it, the Measure 99 funding will cover the school to be able to outfit your kiddos who are struggling finding what they need to participate, okay? So please let your teacher, your principal, whoever's leading these things at Howard know that you need certain things that are on this list that you're not going to be able to get. And it's just much more important that your kid is properly outfitted, because they will not have a good time otherwise. Great. Awesome. Yeah. So we'll have in the medical thing, we do tend to keep a couple of pairs of like extra like sweatshirt bottoms and stuff. You never know what the world will bring. But for the most part, it's really good to bring, extra layers in a kiddo's backpack that they bring with them. Even if they never use them, at least they're there. All right. That's that slide for me. And medications, we don't worry too much about that with the day only programs. But if we do have kiddos that are out there that need to have a lunchtime med, then they will go with someone who's assigned from the district. It'll be a teacher or whoever. And we Camp Fire Wilani don't take care of that. We allow the school to work with you as parents to make sure that if there are any medications that they're turned in the proper dose, and we make sure kiddos get those every day. But it's more rare with day only programs. It's overnight programs where we're working more with medication. So that is that. We can move on. All right. Yes, I am reading this slide because it is different.
I think that's the extent of the Camp Wilani slides, and then we've moved into just our personal school logistics with going.
All right. Why don't you go through this then, and then I can show our video.
That would be great. Perfect. So just specifics to us. Again, the dates are the 9th through the 11th. And then the plan is we will be departing school. So students will come to school normally, the way that they would arrive. And then the buses will depart around 9 a.m. And then right now it's fluctuating a little bit with what, and maybe Sarah can chime in a little bit about this. Originally, we were planning that school students will return around 4:30 to 5 o'clock, but our transportation department is telling us now it may be between 5:15 and 6. So this is fluctuating. We'll land more on this as we get closer. But families will need to provide transportation home from school. We do not have either carpooling. If students are okay to walk or bike home, they have their bike here, or you're getting picked up. The asterisk next to it is if a student is in the after-school BEST program and they take the BEST bus on a daily basis regularly, they can take the BEST bus home, provided that it hasn't left already from BEST. But those students are usually here until almost 6 o'clock. So making sure that you really arrange that pickup. And again, where we're going to be in terms of location at Camp Lutherwood, and our staff are chaperoning this trip. So familiar faces that the kids know. And again, that our cafeteria staff are already providing food for the event. And let's see, lastly here, we have a form. It may be up to what time. This is a form that's going to come home on Friday, may change a little bit here, just asking little logistical things about, are they going to bring a lunch in addition to our snack? If they will need a school cafeteria lunch, how they're going to get home specifically, and also if alternate transportation is needed to attend for whatever specific purposes, we will have a bus that can accommodate wheelchairs and students who need that. But we want to make sure that getting home is very much the important thing. And so we will be locking down with transportation when the return time will happen. And we're planning that when the buses depart, that I'll probably be here at school and an adult will be here, and we'll be notified that the buses are returning, and we will then blast out via text or email and just a note, buses are returning, anticipate arrival at this time, so that everybody can know when the buses are returning, so that they know their students are getting home or you're going to come and pick them up.
And so, Mr. Jett, also, and then we put for the days, because some families have the kids going to different places on different days. So if you do have someone that's in charge differently on different days, make sure you note on there so we know who to call. So we have things in the right place.
Yep. All righty. Okay, so we're going to quickly shift over. I'll give Alyssa control here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Alyssa, I've given you co-host capability to share your screen so that you can see this video.
Let me share my screen. oh my gosh, you're gonna see my desktop, which is a terrifying place that no one should go. The desktop of my computer is just really
I got one
scary.
beat. I got one beat. I saw one today. I won't mention whose, but I saw one today.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to read a certain employee whom I love, the riot act, because I'm not usually this discombobulated. So are there any kiddos in the audience? Can you give me a thumbs up in the chat if there are kids in our audience tonight? Is this just the parents?
I see
There are
one.
a couple of okay. All right. Well, for those of you who don't like the fast cut, speeded up, funky music thing, this is going to be a migraine for you, but the kids love it. So this is a 1 minute what it's like arriving at Camp Lutherwood with our staff. So you can get a really great idea of what it looks like when you come to our program. I apologize for those of you who have a seizure disorder or just really hate stuff like this.
Let's get scratching. Let's get scratching.
I get super excited when they get excited. There is actually a a type of cry that is like a joy cry. Oh my gosh, you stop sharing because you shouldn't see any of this. Oh, I'm so surprised you're not laughing at me more.
Now, thank you for sharing that. That was great. It's awesome to see images of kids there and having a wonderful time.
Yeah, thanks. I text out.
And I appreciate your impromptu presentation for this evening. Thank you.
But yeah, that is kind of it in a nutshell. Again, I'll hit home: properly outfitted young people with a day pack, a unbreakable water bottle, all that stuff. Okay. That's the best advice I can give is properly. If your kiddo's walking out the door in that cotton sweatshirt in the morning, you throw a raincoat on that kid because it's going to be a tough one otherwise, especially if the weather's not.
Depending on if it continues to get really warm and we have unseasonably warm, bright weather, maybe some sunscreen, even though it's early April. Who knows? Because UV rays cut through that overcast sky.
That's wishful thinking. Plan for the worst and hope for the best, guys. Plan for the worst and hope for the best. We were cold last year, but we had to have the right gear, hand warmers, go a long way. So prepare for it.
And what's great is that this year we have indoor spaces, indoor spaces to get warmed up if we need to. So we have a beautiful dining hall and 3 yurts that are heated that if it gets real cold, we can go take a break indoors. So that's a nice part of it.
For the recording version, since the chat won't be visible, everybody here, if you do think of anything, you get off the Zoom here and you're thinking about anything like, oh, I thought of something I should have asked, do reach out to our amazing teachers for those questions. I can field questions as well. Although I am kind of a newbie. Howard, this is first outdoor school thing, so I'm going to definitely defer to our seasoned veterans. So
the other thing I mentioned to students is to bring extra snacks that are healthy, because that's a longer trip than last year and our kids were starving last year. So extra healthy snacks for the kids each day would be helpful.
Yeah, load up on the snackage. Yeah, because hungry, we're still meeting that basic hierarchy of needs of keeping them fed, hydrated, warm, using the bathroom regularly. That's how we can regulate our temperature and keep our brains working. So important stuff there. We love Howard. We've had great times with y'all. We can't wait to have you back. You're gonna love this site. It's gorgeous. It's totally accessible. It's totally accessible. And we think your kids are gonna have a great time. So yeah, welcome to Mr. Jett.
Do you have one question? There's a question here about any need for parent volunteers. Great question. I will also kick this over to our teachers. I believe that we're appreciate that, but I think we're going to be staffed with the EAs that we have. And then, of course, Camp Wilani staff are doing that. So I think we're going to be covered. Susie, Lupe, do you have anything more about it?
Oh, yes, we are covered with all the staff that's coming, that they've gone on these trips before. They went with Camp Wilani last year. So we are all prepared with that. We do thank everyone for offering, though, and also attending tonight, because I know you all have a lot of things to do, too.
Yep.
Again,
thank you, everyone. Thank you to my kiddos who are here, too.
Sorry we kept you waiting today. I do apologize for that. And we're so excited to host you. All right.
You guys feel free to head on out. Email us if you have any questions or stop by. We're available.